Hey everybody, Keisha here, and today I am here with my friend
Jennifer Guskin.
and we need your help. We are right now working on advocacy for combating human trafficking, and here's why. So we'll give you a little bit back of our story and why we're doing what we're doing.
I was adopted as an infant by a couple who sold me throughout my childhood. I have been to Epstein Island and on multiple Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city house or state without permission or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Karis Project podcast. Today we are back again with Sherry, and we will be talking about the madness that has taken over our country. And so, I don't even know what to say anymore. You think it's you think it's over, and people are waking up and smartening up, and then it gets worse. It's like You sort of wake up for a minute and then their head goes further into the sand. Like I
That is
it,
so true. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
It seems like
go
a whole lot of people on a different side of crazy right now. You got people that are sitting back and everybody's kind of watching everybody's next move, and there's not a whole lot of trust out there. I mean, you have some people who are, all about the news and they watch the news constantly, and that's their truth, and they will not veer away from that for nothing. And then you have other people that are, they're watching social media and they get that truth. And there's just so much confusion and mixture out there. There's so many people saying different topics, or only sharing a very short, small portion of the truth. And I mean, I get it because I get a lot of stuff sent to me daily, and some things I disregard instantly because you just know it can't be true on the level that they're trying to explain it to you at. But it's crazy. Like, I'm watching people who don't even understand how to deal with their own emotions right now. They're angry, or they're crying, or they're just like off the wall, or they're just confused. And for the most part, it's so heartbreaking because I mean, I spend every day helping people, working with people, and I the direction that I give these people is, they have to believe in themselves, they have to trust themselves, and once they do that, then they'll be able to see their own truth outside of it. But there's just so much chaos in the world that every different politician is saying a different story. So how do you trust anybody?
well,
And so many people still believe that they can trust the politicians. So you got Pierre saying one thing, Carney saying another thing, Danielle saying another thing, Trump saying another thing, and these are the main people who are being listened to right now. So nobody knows who to believe or what to even think.
but people, this is where people have like the wrong idea. Like I keep telling people, government is like a toddler, right? It doesn't matter who they are. And you have to
Yeah,
understand that when people have power, their tendency is to trend in the wrong direction because the temptation is there. So it's like putting a cookies, your toddler's favorite cookies, there and telling them don't touch it and putting it very close to where they can access it, right?
yeah,
So that
exactly.
that's government. So what do you have to do? You have to put the brakes on them because it you can't let the toddler run your house without, you know what I mean? You have to be the one to take control, and this is where we're
Yeah,
falling into problems because people want to
yeah.
set up failure and expect it to work, right?
That's exactly true. Exactly true. And then of course with all that power comes all this greed, and next thing you know they're stealing from the people, and people don't understand that the biggest thing that has to happen right now, and whether you're a liberal or whether you're conservative or whether you have no background or you don't want any political side, the people all need to come together, whether we like it or not, whether we want to, whether we hate each other or not. The people need to come together because that is the only way that this is ever going to be the change. We can't rely on the politicians to save our back. We can't rely on them to give us the proper information because they're not even giving us the proper information, because they're giving us lies every single day, because they're not even telling you the truth about Canada itself and the provinces, right? So yeah, so it's like I just get so frustrated because I see all the things that are happening around the world and all the lies that are being shared on social media. And I would love for one politician to just step up and tell the truth about Canada alone. Just Canada, right? Just Canada alone.
This is it, and a lot of people don't understand how when you're in a position of a political power or if you're in a position of power in anything, you're you have to rely on people bringing you information because you're so busy and have to do so many things. A lot of people just look at that person, and even if they are well intentioned on something, someone is going to try to feed them wrong information to get them to do certain things, or they will write stuff for them and then present it to them and slip something under the border that they don't realize. Like even things that will like harm that politician themselves, right? Because politicians don't do things to normally harm themselves, right? Like people are protecting their interests. And we watched this with Biden. Biden signed some stuff that was going to burn him. And you know that he didn't know this, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
it was his handler that did it, right? Like
exactly.
it's not, and that's the same thing with Trudeau. Like, everybody this whole time, I don't, and trust me, I'm not going to give him any credit whatsoever because he went along with it for all these years, and you don't have to. But the majority of the stuff that Trudeau did wasn't Trudeau doing it. It was Trudeau's handler telling him to do it, so he had to do it, and he did it. And he basically, look where Canada is now. We're on the brinks of the biggest recession in history.
Well, this is good. Like people don't realize how astronomical this is, and I told people this was going to happen a long time ago because I was watching each successive government just do things to just like deconstruct our economy and destroy it, and then Trudeau comes in and just bends it over faster. Like I mean, like people are like, oh Harper, I'm like Harper was no better, right? Each guy before him like no better, right? Now it's just that it's getting to the point where everybody can see it, but then now you're going to bring in Carney, who was the one who was directing Trudeau during the Emergencies Act and what they did with the truckers to freeze the bank accounts. This is Carney.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 100% Carney. And that's the thing that like people are just now starting to understand and starting to see that the whole time it's been Carney. Like, like either like just now they're starting to see this. And here we are just weeks away from an election that is either going to save Canada. I don't think it's going to save Canada either way, but it's good. One is going to give Canada a bit of a chance to survive, and the other one is going to completely destroy Canada. I don't know. I mean, people think that like Carney himself, Carney's the whole entire government system, what's going on in the government right now is 1,000%, not 100, 1,000% illegal. He shouldn't even be he shouldn't even have a seat right now. He wasn't voted. He doesn't even live in Canada.
He
He's
should.
got his family and his children live in the United States, but yet he's claiming he wants to be our prime minister. Now, the only reason that he would want to be the prime minister of Canada is so that he can turn around and complete Trudeau's mission to destroy Canada. And when they destroy Canada, then the Canadians are 100% vulnerable and have no choice but to comply to their new world orders.
He's globalist. He's globalist, like right through and through. Right?
Yeah.
He's worse than Trudeau in my eyes because he's not quite as stupid, and he's good
No.
at destroying things very quickly.
Yeah.
And
Trudeau was
so
just a puppet.
yes, Trudeau was a pedophile that they controlled, and he did whatever they wanted him to. Right? That's why he was there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Well,
forth.
that's the thing. Every one of them are linked to the Epstein Island. Every one of them are linked to, like, yes, man, the list of how many people were involved in Epstein and the missing children and the murdered children and the murdered women and it blows my mind every single day that more and more information comes out. It's you look at all these elites that people, actors, actresses, and stuff that people just idolized and stuff like that, and here you find out that they're a pedophile. They've been a pedophile for how many years,
I,
right? It's so hard to.
I was listening to Terrence Howard talk about what happened with Diddy, and people would come to his, and he's like, "Yeah, I want you to come and work on some script or something or the other." And he's just kind of sat, hang around doing nothing, and then he comes back and he's like, "Well, what was that for?" And then the guy was like, "Well, he basically wants to bend you over." And he was just like, "The hell with that."
Literally.
And
Yeah.
it cost him, right? Because they're like, he's a troublemaker, this and that. But he's like, I'm not taking that, right? Like, I didn't sign up for that. But then once they do that, All those guys that were hanging out with him, they all took it. They all were involved in some nasty stuff, and then this is how they get you, right? Like they slip something in your drink. Next thing you know, you wake up in some bad position, and there's pictures, and they're like, "Well, you know what you got to do."
Yeah. And the ones that have come forward throughout the years and tried to speak up, they died.
Yes,
They got killed.
yes.
So that's exactly it. Like, and I mean that's like the majority of us now that are speaking out. Like so many of us that speak up on some pretty harsh topics. You know, sex trafficking, for example, here in Canada. We're speaking up about it. There's so many whistleblowers out there, and I mean, so many of us have got threats and death threats and harassment from the law enforcement, things like that. And but that the difference, I don't know, like the difference between them and us, I guess, is we still have our sanity and we can't be bought. Majority of us can't be bought. And as soon as you can be bought, that's when you're just one of them.
Well,
And if you want to live with that for the rest of your life, you want to be on that same classification as those pedophiles and horrible people, then go ahead and let them buy you out. But as far as I'm concerned, the people that have been bought out, they deserve what they have coming to them.
well, yeah, yes. It's like people are like trying to torture my daughter to say things that aren't true, so that they could get away with what they're doing. And when I look at this, and this is not the only person they see this happening to. Like I see, and the people that are doing this. Like there's a girl in the states that I was talking to. They ran another girl that she knows off of social media because these people have like a disgusting trove of child pornography, right?
Yeah, they
Like,
do.
and I'm like, you guys are sick. Like, I mean, they're scared, but by all means, you should be because you should have never did that. And what happens to you? Don't care. Don't
Yeah,
care. Should
yeah,
never did
exactly.
that.
Well, that's the thing that we talked about this before about the the trans here, transgender person that stabbed his two children. And and it's nothing against transgender because trust me, the since he's done that, he, she, whatever you want to call him, has done that. Um, the whole entire trans community has like he's not welcome there at all. They've completely abolished him. But the thing is so they go and they set this court date for this um, stabbing, and for whatever reason, I'm not going to get into the reason of why um, they postponed the court date. So they but they did. They postponed the court date to April 28th. Anybody know what April 28th is?
Not offhand.
That's the day of the voting.
Oh, yes, yes, the election.
Right? The
Oh,
election.
of course.
So so that being said, how much do you think that court case is actually going to go through?
It's gonna
Probably
get
won't.
buried. It's gonna get buried under they do this all the time.
They do it all the time, all the time. I know I seen somebody posting, "Oh yeah, the court date is on the 28th, and oh he should finally get what he's got coming to him on the 28th." And I'm like, if that's court date is voting day, guys. They usually close courts that day. So I mean, unless it's changed, who knows? Unless it's changed. However, so then we seen. I had somebody send me some pictures and a post on Facebook about this person, and now here he's out there on a dating site, not as a transgender, but as a man again. Yeah. So I mean, there's just people like you're not wrong when you say people are losing their mind. They are definitely losing their mind, 100%. Because we have people like, and so let's just go back to that. So this person was put into the mental hospital here, like Five South, and released the next day. Not once, not twice, but three times. And each time released within 24 hours. Now, they have the legal right to keep him for up to 72 hours, but somehow, some way, he got released in less than 24 hours. That being said, that's them saying that does not have a mental problem, right?
But
That's them saying that he's stable, he's good, he can go.
if you say like the doctor there, Doctor Mel Boucher, who pointed out the spike proteins were causing things. They like drugged him bad, and he's not the same since. Where they try to
Right.
destroy people. So you say something, you expose crime or their government's like wrongdoings, and you're crazy. But someone who's actually got issues and needs help, they don't want him to get help,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That
Yeah,
this is the way that we're. This is the world we're living in. I mean,
yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. Like people. Sorry, I'm just taking a picture of the screen there.
yeah,
That's the thing that people don't understand, that it's this is our new world, right? Whether they want to consider it part of the new world order, this is exactly what they want. They want people in chaos. They want people confused. They want people completely disconnected from reality. Most people, like a lot of people, I can't say most, but a lot of people don't even have like the family values that they used to, the traditional values, or even the well, we all know common sense is pretty much in the back door now, gone out the back door. So that being said, like when you talk to somebody who, like myself, I'll talk to somebody that's maybe 20, 25 years younger than me. They do not have the same values. They do not have the same values. They do not have the traditions. To them don't mean anything. They don't care if they ever see their blood relations or whatever ever again, right? Like they don't care about family.
I
They don't.
just kind of you touched on this. And my daughter, we were on a podcast with Elizabeth Spraggins and Vic Vagina. I mean, I can't say that with a straight face, but we are discussing like kind of what they were because they were in the adult industry and left, and we're talking about why they did that. My daughter brought up on what the indoctrination that started to go into overdrive when she started school, and they were trying to just deconstruct our whole society and ability to think. And they hated me for this because like they were coming after me 6 ways from Sunday because I was like, absolutely not. That's not the way it works. And taught my child how to think. When I look
Yeah,
at some of these guys, they are cooked. They cannot even begin to like formulate the thought process. Like I'm listening to like how you and I have a conversation. Listening to some of these younger women, like the younger guys are just angry and spouting off all the time, but the women, you listen to them, they don't make sense anymore. Like the guys don't because you see watching what they're doing, but the women are talking and they don't make sense. Like I go back and I read something for the woman get wrote like 100 years ago. I have no problem understanding it, but now you're just like what? Like
yeah.
what?
Half the stuff that you like, yeah, you can't have a normal conversation like you and I can have, or you just can't. Like the conversations are very, I want to say childish, honestly. Like you can't have an adult conversation. Like even now, like talking to some of the adults, like 30, 40, 30 to 50 kind of thing. You have conversations, I have conversations with them, and if they've got stuck in that trap and they kind of follow the narrative all the way through, you can't have an adult conversation with them in any way. You
No,
cannot. And it's very disheartening because these are people who come to me who desperately are in need of help, desperately in need of change, and they want it. But when you speak the language, the true language to them, they don't even comprehend. So what ends up happening is I literally have to take what I know, how I know it, like how everything works, how to do the shift, everything, all the work that I do. I have to literally dummy it down so much as if I'm talking to a 3-year-old child. And then you may see some changes, but you literally have to bring it back down to a child, talking as if you're talking to a child, then gradually bring it up to our age today. But it's a very gradual, it's a very gradual process.
Yeah, I just for me, I just have to like put them in situations that are going to make them to face up to what they're doing and the idiocy of it because it, like I was like when we were even talking like one of the guy there Vic he was talking about when he left like the adult industry they would have certain things where they would say okay like, stop we don't want this they would talk and say something. He's like, well, the younger girls that were coming in, they don't say anything. They say everything is fine, everything is great, and then they come back and they said, okay, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say something? Like, and he's like, well, I can't do this because who knows? It's like you're walking through a minefield, right? They're going to tell you that everything is okay, and then they're going to come back and say, no, it's not. Well, how was I supposed to know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then the reason why they do that is because they're already walking into a situation with the, as they call it, anxiety. So they're walking into these situations with the fear and anxiety and uncertainty, right? So they take that fear and uncertainty and they're walking in and they're basically kind of go through the whole motions of the situation. And then they're already walking in with the fear. So for them to turn around and tell you about what just happened, they can't do it because they already walked in fear and now they just got that much more fear because of what they just had done to them, right? So they don't normally want to, they normally can't just, unless they're completely and utterly distraught, they can't just come forward in that moment and say, this happened to me and I need it to stop, or oh my God, these people are horrible and it has to stop. I can't believe what they did to me. It usually takes quite a while, quite some time to get them to come forward.
Yes, but I
And
mean,
so,
a lot. This is why I understand why men don't want to talk to women because they're like, I don't know because I'm trying if they try to communicate something and they say okay that's fine but then tomorrow it's not like so how can you operate if you can't like have those communication skills and
yeah,
that's where
exactly.
there's a problem and this translates to anywhere in life if you're in the workplace whatever how can you not say, okay, well, I need X, Y, and Z done, and are you okay with this? Like, take this over to your boss, the boss over there, and get that done. But then they later said that you threw them into the under the bus because that boss you had an issue with, but they never told you,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, this is where it becomes difficult, and if they didn't get that groundwork to do this, it becomes very difficult to then start having to work with it. And it's this is the product of our school system, right?
And they have people exactly where they want them. They do.
Mm-hmm.
People are exactly where they want they're exactly where they want them to be because the more that they can control their mind, control their thoughts, and keep them thinking that what they're saying, what they're doing, and downplaying all their emotions, downplaying all their the truth in society. The more that they're downplaying it, the more that they get to control. So when they get to control, that means that it's so much easier to switch the whole entire society into the digital world and the mind control and the 15-minute cities, and it's easier for them to manipulate boys and girls into the sex trafficking world and get them to do everything they want, or even getting these young boys, you know what, you want this, where you have to do this. And that I see it more and more today, that there's boys and girls that are being manipulated into doing something because they're saying, okay, well, you want this life, I can give you this life, but if I give you this life, you have to do this for me first. Or I'll give you this life, but this is what you have to do. And I had a client come to me a few weeks back, and that was the situation. This person wanted this life, this luxury life, away from the pain, away from the hurt, away from the whole entire trauma of the upbringing, and I took it, went all in, just to find out that what this person had to do in order to receive that life and continue on with that life is they had to kill another person. And it almost got to the point where the person just did just about die. The person was shot. Thankfully, the bullet didn't kill him. But that was his choice. Okay, you do this. You want this life. This is what you have to do to continue with that life to prove yourself that you'll do this life. Now,
Yes.
and I see it. I see it all the time.
Yes. Let's just take a short commercial break and we'll come back and discuss that a little bit further.
Yeah.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your My Pillow products: mattress topper, bed sheets, My Pillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupted this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 My Pillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard My Pillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use My Pillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all My Pillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard My Pillows absolutely free.
Yeah. So if you need any of the My Pillow products, go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-842-2942. Use the promo code Karis. So kind of what you're talking about, you had some discussion about this earlier previously, but what the government is doing, they're doing a lot to help this situation along. And the poverty that they're creating, a lot of the pressure and everything else like this that puts people in a state of fight or flight. They're not making good decisions because when you're under duress, standard contract law is that if you're under duress, you cannot enter into a contract because you don't have the capacity. So what's happening is we're getting abused on a massive scale, and a lot of the people who haven't developed the the character or the resilience to deal with these things, they are succumbing to them, and then they're going to be like, "Oh yes, well we'll give you this, but you have to do X, Y, and Z," and this is what ends up happening. And a lot of this is why the younger people are going in and doing so much insanity because they don't have they have the least amount of tools and they were groomed to go into this to go to the people who are going to do them wrong and taught not to trust the people that are looking out for their interests because when I talk to a lot of the younger people, they can't tell whether somebody's trying to help them or harm them, and they more often will run to the person that will harm them over and over again.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that's what I was getting to is that you look at, so I told you about that situation. And that situation alone, that's just a young person that got caught in a bad situation and made some bad choices and ended up having to do the time for it. But if you look at the world today, all around us, the politicians, the anybody with any type of authority in an authoritative position, I'm not going to give them the authority, but anybody in an authoritative position, that's what they're doing. They're manipulating, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a your mayor, your counselor, your prime minister, your anybody with any type of title with authority. That's what they're doing. They're manipulating the system enough to get these people to do and say everything they want by giving them, well, if you do this, I'll do this. Well, you know what? I'm going to lower your fuel prices because I'm a liberal or because I'm a conservative. I'm going to give you better. I'm going to do the tax breaks because I'm a conservative, and then I'm going to cut the carbon tax because I'm a liberal. You know what? It's just a big game for them to go through everything and manipulate the whole entire society just to play the people and get what they want. Keep people following and complying, following and complying, following and complying, where really the people need to open their eyes and they need to just see, okay, this is the system. Every single one of them are doing it, including the teachers that are in the schools manipulating the children at such young ages, and the colleges and the universities. The kids need to start standing up, the adults need to start standing up, and they need to start saying, no, I'm not doing it your way, I'm not complying with your mumbo jumbo, because it's not right, it's actually quite wrong.
Well, they set up a system of slavery, and they were doing this to trauma bond people by abusing and abusing and abusing them, and doing the thing to make them feel good. And because a lot of people have been indoctrinated and conditioned and broken down over the years, and it became a generational thing, and each generation got weaker and weaker as the indoctrination began to increase. Now you're sitting down with a bunch of people who can't defend themselves, that have no ability to deal with this, and anything that makes them feel bad they want to run from. And because somebody's telling something that makes them feel good, they're just running to them because they just want to avoid the bad feelings. But this
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
point where we have to take comfort in people's cowardice and treason, because the only way forward is going to be through hard work. That's
Yeah.
There's no other way. You can't just comply your way or ease your way out of this tyranny. It is just not going to happen.
No. And that's the thing too, like, you know, watching all the news and everything like that, you see Carney call out Doug Ford and Danielle Smith, and then the next thing you know, you see Doug Ford and Danielle Smith saying their little spiel. They're just attacking each other back and forth, and all they're doing it for is to manipulate the people, because Danielle Smith says, well, I won't shut up. Okay.
So what?
So what? Yeah, exactly. So what? You're not going to shut up. So what are you actually going to do to save Alberta as
Uh,
your province that you're supposed to be taking care of? What are you going to do about the sex trafficking in your province? What are you going to do about the court cases that are going on and on and on for all this federal garbage from the convoy still to this day? How many years later? What are you going to do about the healthcare system, the child services? When is your province going to be safe to walk through the streets? When are you going to stop bringing all the immigration in? And I'm not against immigration. However, the people that are coming in right now are not nice people. They're very, very mean people, actually. And I could say that because here in Grand Prairie, we never had very many immigrations at all. We had a few blacks, we had Filipinos, stuff like that, and it was fabulous, great. Everybody just molded, got along great, everything like that. But that's the thing, everybody molded and just accepted. So now that they bring these um, new immigrants in, not gonna list the types, the race or anything like that. But now our crime rate has quadrupled, missing people constantly, like daily almost. There's probably there's probably 3 to 5 people a week that go missing from Grand Prairie.
It's
And what happens? It gets pushed under the rug.
because they're bringing in the bottom of the barrel, and they're doing this on purpose, right?
Yeah,
They started doing this in other areas, like cities like Winnipeg, where they started to
yeah,
bring in a lot of these guys that were just a lot of these guys just were came in as straight gang members. They went from crime
yeah.
over there to crime over here,
Yeah,
right? And
you look at
then
what's happening in Winnipeg right now,
what?
and you look at what's happening in Winnipeg right now. They're
They,
controlling the streets.
of course they are. Like, I mean, like this was this. Like, I grew up seeing this stuff, and I was like, this is not good. Because when I was in there when I was a kid, they were shooting at each other in broad daylight downtown Winnipeg, right? And this was
Yeah,
like 30 years ago, right?
yeah.
And now you're seeing this happening across the country. You're replicating this over and over again, and it's like it didn't work there. What makes you think it's going to work now? It didn't work anywhere in the world. Go through history, never worked. Only
No, and
for
that's exactly my point, right? Like the whole thing is, well, they just kind of slide things in, and it's the way they're very sneaky how they do it. Actually, they just slide things in, people in, or things, situations, or new compliances or whatever. And what they do is they sneakily do this so that people don't even really bat an eye. They just literally comply. Or they're so busy in their life that they can't say or do anything anyway.
Or they go in and they distract people that are doing things, like a lot of the people who are supposed to be on the right side or whatever. All of those race baiters, they're idiots. They're causing more problems, right?
Yeah,
And they're marginalizing, because there's a lot of minorities that are here that immigrated and they don't like what's going on, but they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm like, you're an idiot. If people want to be here and want to embrace the Canadian society and live here, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with, I don't care what color you are, what country you came from. If you were going to come here and commit crime, the door is there and you're going out, right? You're not coming here. We're not taking somebody else's problem, because countries aren't taking our criminals, right? So
that's right.
why should we take yours? Not going to do it. It's going to be a burden on the taxpayer. Get
Well, and
lost.
that's the thing. And then on top of all of that, like we can't just keep them because our court system is so corrupt right now that these people go into the court system, and it's just like it's completely a catch and release. They don't stay. They don't get time for committing rape. They don't get committing time
Uh,
for stabbing their children. They don't get time for murdering. They don't get nothing. They just catch and release, catch and release. And I've actually spoke to quite a few of the RCMP and police here about this, because I lose my mind over this topic, because I can't handle watching so many people hurt, and that I'm dealing with these people who I'm trying to help them heal and get better, and they still have to worry about the the predator that just did this to them being 2 blocks away,
yes. And they give
and
them,
there's nothing they can do,
they protect the
right?
predator.
Yeah. So speaking to the RCMP and law enforcement here, I've actually they're just as frustrated as we are.
Oh yes, I talked to one of the guys, and he was like, "I'm tired of building a case. The guy is
Yeah.
guilty as sin. Like, I mean, from
Yeah.
especially from what he's seen before, and how he's got people convicted, only to have the judge let him go free." And he's like,
Yeah.
"What? Like,
Yeah.
I want guys like this to do their job, because we're not asking for special treatment, just to let the thing function the way it's supposed to."
Yeah.
That that's a novel idea. Like,
So a few months back, well, probably actually a couple years, I'm gonna say actually, is when I first heard this. Now, when they bring they bring your people in and they charge them and put them in jail, and then they have to wait for the judge to decide if they're getting a bail hearing or if they're
yeah,
going to get out on bail.
yeah,
So I was told quite some time ago that it's not actually a judge that goes in and makes that decision. It could be anybody
a
with
just
that license,
justice of the
including a real
peace.
estate agent, including a real estate agent. So, and the reason I'm throwing this out there is because people need to be aware that it isn't just a judge that's doing this. It is a real estate agent.
Anybody.
It's anybody it's a JP, for crying out loud. Like, I could go get my JP license tomorrow and I could do it too,
Yes.
right? So these people are put into place to ensure that they follow the narrative of their system that they're playing right now.
Yes, and they put people in there to do stuff, because a lot of the guys, they'll be like, "Well, the JP's going to let you out." So they're like, "Okay, I'll go in front of the
Yeah,
JP," because some judges will be like, "No," because there
yeah,
might be a chance that you get the wrong judge that's not dirty, right? And it's just like, you're going to jail, right? So if
yeah,
they have the JPs there, well,
yeah,
let you go, right?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, the more people know about their systems and how they actually operate, the better. Because then they can actually challenge, like, the regular civilians in their own cities, towns, and cities can actually challenge the system. But if people don't know how it actually works, and they just get mad at the judge, oh, the judge just, they don't care, they don't care, they don't care. because of the system, but it's not the judges. It's not necessarily all the judges. It's the entire system that's corrupt.
Yes, and clerks are some of the dirtiest people,
They are,
period.
yeah, yeah,
Because
they sure are.
they're the easiest to bribe because they make the least amount of money, right?
Yeah,
And so if you dangle the carrot in front of the clerk, who might be, could be a single mother, could be, maybe not doing the best, need to
yeah,
get some extra money. Well, here's like, 50% of your salary tax free, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The special bonus here. Here's a special bonus for you. I'll give you $1,000 if you go and deal with this inmate that we just brought in.
Yes, or
Right? Yeah,
forging documents
it's
in
special
courts.
bonuses. Yeah, and and not only that, but with this Michael Atwood case, there, Michael Alice Atwood, the one that was a transgender. Oops, I should say that properly. Um, yeah, like his case, we found out that he'd been going to a counseling clinic here in Grand Prairie, and this actually the counselor that he'd been dealing with was also the same gender ideology. And what was really unfortunate about it is because the this whole counseling service, it just goes to show how much they're actually not helping the people if this person is in counseling for so long and then still turns around and still stabs his children and then says, well, I am in EMS and I used to be in EMS, and so I held the wound closed until EMS got there at least. Because that type of counseling that they're doing is a justification counseling where, and this is where I will challenge every single counselor out there to go head to head with me, and in the regards of helping people, because 9 times out of 10 that counseling is only manipulating the people and
Yes.
setting them up for failure.
Yes, and most counseling, I mean, like I've seen counselors a lot of times, like they don't do anything. I just like talk to get something, hear somebody respond, like hear the thoughts outside of my head, and then I just figure it out because they like tell you things, and I'm like, no, that's stupid, right? Like
Yeah,
that's not going to work, and they don't like
yeah,
that, but too bad. Like, what am I paying you for, right?
yeah,
Like, and so a lot of the times if people actually put the work in, they would get things done, but they don't want to do the work. So they tell them what makes them feel good, and then it doesn't do anything. Because I was listening to a woman, she was talking, she's in counseling for 10 years. I'm like, 10 years? Why are they? I'm like, somebody's trying to take your money. You need to find someone else because you shouldn't be there for 10 years.
yeah, exactly. I mean, myself, like through my lifestyle, like because of what I deal with daily, when I get overloaded, I will go talk to a counselor, and for me it's just to unload and decompress and everything like that, because I yeah, all the things that I deal with, you have to be able to release it, right? But I don't go to counseling for years and years and years. I spent my time doing all that when I was young, but and like I told you before, the counselors that I had, they locked me in the room. My counseling was after 4 o'clock p.m. and they locked me in the room and decided when they were coming back, and I didn't stand for it then and took the chair, busted the window, and out I went, and I never went back because there's no way that you're locking me in a room, in a scary building. I was 11, 12 years old, right? So there was no way that I was just going to comply and just like, you're not locking me in. Like, who knows what you're going to do to me when you're locking me in? And as a woman, and she was very good. Like, up until that point, I just never went back after that. I was like, no, you crossed the boundary. You don't get to lock me in. But that's the thing. The When I was going through the counseling, the difference now is when I was going through the counseling, it was hard truth. It was they wanted to help you. They wanted you to get better. They didn't. It's not about, oh, poor you. Oh, that person really must have hurt your feelings. oh, poor you. No, now that's what it's like when you talk to people, where people need to hear the truth. They need to hear the truth. They need to hear that, you know what, this happened to you, and I'm really sorry that this happened to you. But now you need to like start making steps forward to start healing and being able to move forward so that this doesn't happen to you again. That should be the ultimate goal. This does not happen again. You know what the signs. You're strong enough to know, but they don't, because they want you in there. They want you in the system, and they want to make money off of you.
Yeah, they do.
That's
Yeah,
the
they
hard
do.
truth.
That
That's
that's
the
yeah, that's crazy. Um, these people need to start doing things properly, and like I mean, there needs to be a large shift, and even with the younger people, because I've talked to some younger people, and they were like offering counseling services, and I'm like, really? You're trying to tell me that you want to counsel me? Are you on drugs? Right? Like I'm like, you can't even
yeah,
string a sentence together, but you want to do that for people. And
yeah,
there are a lot of people that need just some little bit direction, but they need to. There's a big generational divide. Like I can see that happening, and they need to start being able to take the instruction. Otherwise, they're not going to get through. Because I look at some of the people there, and this younger generation is more about feelings than what actually really needs to get done. And the world doesn't run on feelings. Yes, we all have them, but life is not fair. Life doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about results and what's going to
right.
get done. And so you can't go in and build a bridge based on feelings. It's got to be, does it work or is it not? Because if not, people are going to die, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest part, is because like our generation, we see exactly what's going on. So it's like for us, we have to be able to also take a step back and, okay, how am I going to help this person? I'm a server, so that's how I look at everything. So yeah, there is a massive, massive generational gap, but I think the biggest thing is to get them up to speed and out of their feelings, and so they, because they're so absorbed in their feelings that they don't even understand. When they go to work and they, oh my goodness, they have to carry something that's 20 pounds, or oh, they have to like do more work than they expected, because they think that their feelings, that filing these files gives them anxiety. So they think that, oh wait, I don't have to do that because it's giving me anxiety. That's really how they think. And I think that the more our, like, the older generations stepping back and actually stepping in to help these people, the younger generations, I think that'll really help with guiding them. It's not about really always having to be so hard and so straightforward and so direct, like the majority of us are. It's literally just us stepping back and also helping them as they, because we can learn a lot from them, because I know a lot of the older generation have had a lot of things that happen to them where they've actually blocked their emotions, right? So, and trust me, I've looked at it, and I step back and I'm like, okay, so this person like is very over emotional. And so I step back and I'm like, okay, am I just not seeing this because of all the things that I've dealt with? And I look at it on multiple different levels, and most times I can come to the realization that they're all the same. However, these the guys just have it a little bit more expanded than that's just their life,
But
where our generation has pushed the feelings aside, because we know life isn't hard, isn't easy. We know that we have to, sometimes put the feelings aside. Where a lot of us out here, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. We'll do anything and everything for anybody with a boundary,
well,
right?
and I think that as we wrap up here, I think one of the things that we'll say is that there needs to be a we have to understand that feelings, your emotions should be processed in real time. I do this all the time. I have to process them, but I still have to sometimes act outside of it, because one day you can't get up and you're on the wrong side of the bed. Doesn't mean that you don't go to work and fulfill your obligations, right? Because you have to sit down and say, well, why is this happening? Usually it's an indicator. It indicates something's going on. Sometimes it's just like things are just out of whack and that's just the way it is. Or there could be something that's seriously going on that you need to dig in further and deeper, but you got to use this to figure that out. If you push them aside, you're going to one day explode, which is bad, or you're going to be in a very bad situation. And this is what people need to understand is how to deal with life's challenges and do it in an appropriate manner. So I mean that's really kind
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And really just being okay with not being okay. And it's okay to have an emotional day, and it's okay to be a hot mess once in a while as long as you just don't stay there.
Yeah. And I guess it's time for us to close because we're running up on time. So I'll close here with a prayer and we will talk to everybody again next time. All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us and help the men and the women to work together and the younger and the older work together that we can rebuild our churches, our community, and our nation and to help fix this dumpster fire that we're all in is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you again next time.